It's a quiet spring morning in Stratford-upon-Avon. Tourists wander past the ivy-cloaked stone walls of the Holy Trinity Church. Inside, candles flicker. Footsteps echo against ancient wooden pews. At the far end, under a stone slab in the chancel floor, lies a man whose words shaped the world, William Shakespeare. But something is strange. There is no grand tomb, no statue, just a simple inscription on a worn gravestone, carved with a warning that has puzzled and frightened me. For over 400 years, good friend, for Jesus' sake forbear to dig the dust enclosed here. Blessed be the man that spares these stones, and cursed be he that moves my bones. A curse, placed not on kings or criminals, but on any soul who dares disturb the bones of England's greatest playwright. Why did Shakespeare leave a curse over his own remains? Was he afraid of being forgotten, or afraid of being found? There are whispers, whispers that his body was never buried at all. Whispers that beneath the stone slab lies nothing, or someone else entirely. Some believe his skull was stolen by grave robbers. Others say a hidden vault contains more than bones, perhaps a secret, manuscript, or even a confession. There are even those who suggest he was never buried there at all, that the Shakespeare buried in the chancel is an impostor, a decoy, a poetic illusion. This isn't just legend. In 2016, radar scans revealed that Shakespeare's grave is quite unusual. There's no evidence of a traditional coffin. The bones appear to be scattered. Most disturbing of all, the scans suggest that his skull is missing. It's not just theory. In 1879, an anonymous magazine article claimed that grave robbers took Shakespeare's skull in 1794 for study, for profit, or for something stranger. The author described the skull as having unusually large dimensions. The church denied it, but they never opened the grave to prove otherwise. Why not? Out of respect, or fear. Some say the grave was protected for centuries because of the curse carved into its surface. A curse, some believe, was not poetic flourish but a deliberate deterrent. You see, in Shakespeare's time, grave robbing was common, especially for famous figures. Skulls were prized for phrenology, the now discredited science of reading character through skull shape. Could it be that Shakespeare, knowing this, etched a curse so powerful it kept his bones safe for centuries? Or did it fail? Let's go deeper. Shakespeare died in 1616 at the age of 52. Unlike most grand figures of the Renaissance, he left behind no elaborate tomb, no carefully preserved will requesting burial grandeur. He requested to be buried in the chancel of his church, just a few feet from where he had been baptized as a child. But the positioning of the grave is curious. His family, including his wife Anne Hathaway, was buried elsewhere. Why the separation? Some believe it was practical. Others believe it was intentional. A man hiding something, or protecting something. Here's where it becomes chilling. A few feet from the grave lies the Shakespeare funerary monument, a bust mounted on the wall of the church. It bears little resemblance to the famous portraits. In this bust, Shakespeare is depicted holding a quill and a sheet of paper, almost as if still writing. A clever metaphor, a symbol of unfinished work. For centuries, scholars and conspiracy theorists have asked, what if Shakespeare was buried with unpublished writings? What if he feared discovery not just of his body, but of words never meant to see the light? There are legends that say Shakespeare penned a final play, a lost tragedy that was buried with him out of shame or secrecy, a work too dangerous for its time. There is no evidence, only silence, and an unmovable stone. Then there's the curse. It is written in a poetic meter, rhymed, and direct, not a plea, but a threat. Cursed be he that moves my bones. Is it coincidence that in 400 years, his grave has never been exhumed, not even for restoration, not even to confirm the presence of his remains? In 2008, plans to examine the grave were quietly withdrawn. Officially, it was out of respect for the playwright's wishes. But others suspect reluctance, fear, reverence, or something deeper. There are more unsettling clues. In 1623, 7 years after Shakespeare's death, the first folio was published. It collected many of his plays for the first time, some of which had never been printed before, but oddly, it contained no personal letters, no annotations, no final writings. Why? For a man who wrote so much, so prolifically, where are the drafts? The notes? The revisions? Could it be that some of those missing writings lie beneath the stone? Perhaps the curse wasn't just to protect bones. Perhaps it was to guard legacy, reputation, secrets. Another thread worth following. The identity of Shakespeare himself has long been debated. Was he really the author of all those plays? Or was he a front for someone else, a nobleman perhaps, who dared not reveal his name? If such a deception existed, could the truth be buried with the Man in Stratford. Would opening the grave answer the question or deepen the mystery? Consider this: no portrait of Shakespeare was made during his lifetime. All known images appeared posthumously. All differ, some dramatically. The bust in the church, for instance, was carved years after his death, likely from memory. But whose memory, and why do some early depictions seem to reflect a different face altogether? And then, there is silence. The silence of centuries, of unanswered questions. The grave remains undisturbed, the curse unbroken, but stories have a way of rising, of seeping out like ink from a long-closed bottle, like whispers from stone. 100 scholars have debated the meaning of that warning. Was it simply a poetic quirk, a reflection of Elizabethan superstition, or something more deliberate? In a world where graves are exhumed, bones are studied, DNA is sequenced, why has no one dared disturb this one? Because Shakespeare, even in death, commands awe and perhaps fear. The man who gave us Hamlet, Macbeth, Othello, and Lear, who painted the human soul with such detail and darkness, surely understood the power of the unknown, of mystery, of suggestion. He wrote in Hamlet, there are more things in heaven and earth, Horatio, than are dreamt of in your philosophy. Perhaps he was speaking not to Horatio, but to us, to those who stand at his grave and wonder what lies beneath: a man, a myth, a missing skull, or a final story untold, unread, and forever sealed. As you walk away from the church, the birds chirp, the wind moves gently through the trees. Life carries on, but beneath your feet, one man may still be guarding a final act, never performed, never read, and perhaps never meant to be, but stories have a way of escaping their graves. This has been Literary Elegance. If this tale stirred your curiosity, subscribe and join us again where hidden truths, haunted pages, and forgotten voices return to life. Tell us in the comments, would you dare lift the stone, or would you heed the curse? Until next time, read deeply, dream vividly, and never stop wondering what lies beneath the surface.